Hey everyone, here it is, the main build for this year's LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Pirate Ship set. I've previously covered the other build options for the Skull Island and the Pirate's Inn. Let's see what this one is all about. Almost all of the pieces in the set go into building the ship itself, and there are just a couple of small side builds and 4 figures. And one of those side builds is this pretty excellent little brick-built great white shark. It is sized nicely, it is shaped nicely, and it has way more articulation than it deserves to have for how few pieces it has. Just a really nice design here. A little bit comical with the eyes, but not too much. Like, it's just pretty ideal for its size and again for the cost of parts that go into it. This, meanwhile, looks like a blue jay to me, bucking the trend of always including a parrot with a pirate ship or pirate-related set. And it's a nice little build. Simple, blocky creator style, but looks good enough to me. And real quick, there's a treasure chest that you can put anywhere, and that just has a couple of gems in it and a couple of gold studs to represent coins. So the ship then. I am happy to be able to report that this is fully built up from every angle, and you'll see that as it goes around. There really isn't any specific camera-friendly angle followed by a camera-unfriendly angle. You do have the ability to see the undersides of some of these plate-based sails from some angles, but they don't look dramatically worse than the other side. At least to me, there is no open side to this. You know, the main cabin area back here is fully sealed all the way around. It doesn't really take any shortcuts. Like, this is a full-on proper pirate ship that's not trying to be like a budget version or anything. They really went all out with the design of this for the number of pieces. The hull is built up from mostly small to medium-sized pieces with a combination of studs up and studs on the side construction. It's built with a number of large sub-assemblies that you put together in very satisfying fashion. It just feels good putting like about a sixth together at a time. Got a couple of gun ports here that are presently open and occupied by cannons that we'll see a little bit better once we look from above. But yeah, it just felt really good building the base hull for this, which fortunately you do all of the hull first. And you got a nice figurehead up front. It's representing a mermaid, I believe. A little bit disjointed in the midsection, but a good use of pieces and nice splash of color. The bowsprit and jib, unfortunately, are not supported. There's no jib stay or forestay up here, but you can adjust the angles of all of the sails. That's actually kind of nice and useful for getting a little bit of dynamic posing to this. Many ships from LEGO especially are not able to do that. You got a semi-working capstan winch up here, so it can actually wind and raise and lower the anchor. Surprisingly, given how much of this set is fully built up, the anchor is just mostly a single pre-molded part, piece they've had for quite some time. A little bit surprised that they didn't have us build up something a little bit more special for that. One thing that has pleased me about the overall design of this since its initial photos came out is the existence of a proper full-height forecastle or forecastle. That's this structure up here at the front, just something that you don't very often see, or that you very rarely see in toy grade models of old sailing ships. Some smaller boats will have like a half height, like a forward cabin, but I mean, this is full height. It's just different. It is not covered up from front and back though. It's just kind of a bridge sort of space. So you can put figures up here and put some down below, and there's a little bit of deck space there, and it's a good use of space and adds to the overall look of this. Now we'll give you a higher look as well at the hold area, but this is nice. Like the level of detail here and the use of all the 1x1s. I hate lining up 1x1s, usually 1x1 plates. You can see all these along the way, but they actually look really good. It really, really adds to the believability and the prestige of the appearance of the whole thing. Nice job here on the back. It's interesting when you see the green. After building this, you think, well, green means that something has to be on the right side, because as you're building this, like some sections of the hull are mirrored from side to side, and the ones on the left will be made with some red pieces, which you no longer see, and the ones on the right will be made with some green. Just a nice little nod to nautical color language, basically also used in aircraft. But yeah, here this is intended to be just a decorative item, but I like how all the shaping is back here, especially right up here. This is a very satisfying little shape, how that all goes together. And then the control deck back here where you have the main wheel, that's actually relatively simple. Shockingly simple, given how nice everything else is. And the railing is a little bit low. What you've got on the back is very nice, but the sides are, I don't know, I just feel like based on all the rest of the design of this, there would have been more done up here where the captain's position or the wheelman's position is. Like, I mean, look at this. Look how nice this is around the back. You can actually open those shutters. You got a little bit of extra detail down here. Sorry, that wasn't pushed down all the way. Have to get to it from the other side. But I mean, the level of detail there is really nice. Oh yeah, you can also turn the rudder from side to side. It's not going to do anything, but it's nice that it is there. You can do that. And got a couple lamps on the back. And this this little flag. I didn't see that coming at all. You put the white part on there, the modified plate, and then you put just a single tile on it, and it becomes a skull with an eye patch. That's kind of brilliant. Moving up into the rigging, this is actually pretty nice that there is some rigging. Like there's some lines. You've got some stays, some shrouds there. And again, you can move the sails. You can rotate them from side to side, so it doesn't have to be doing a full run all the time. You can also rotate this one. Not everything is connected up, but a lot of the design of this, and I'm sure some of the overall sizing of it, was limited by the size of these pieces right here, which are actually really good and look very nice in the medium nougat color. Yeah, they've just got the bar-sized hole at either end. It's unfortunate that there's nothing going between these to create the little rope ladder. I forget the proper term for that, but that's the only thing I feel is really missing here. But anytime we get rigging and we don't have to tie a bunch of knots and cut string and everything, I think is just absolutely a luxury. The sails are mostly plate built, and I have no problem with that. I like it. I like the look of them. Again, I like being able to actually adjust the angles from side to side, and they're cool. Yeah, very happy with that. Got a design that's actually built up over here. In some ways, I like these better than well-done cloth ones. I like how they hang. I like the shape and the fact that they're actually assembled together. They will never collect mold. They're not going to crinkle up over time. There's just a permanence to this, as well as reusability. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I got the crow's nest up here as well. You can just put a single figure up there. A couple of flags as well, and you can rotate those around. So just generally everything above deck, I am very satisfied with. Below deck, things aren't necessarily great. There's a definite limit of space down there. Really all you can do with the main hull space is just have those cannons, or you can take the cannons out and then use that space for cargo. But you see there are just two gun stations on either side, and in realistic fashion, you can take those out and move them from side to side. So let me see if I can get in here without getting too much up in the camera. There we go. So the cannons actually have wheels, little rail wheels on them. And these are the type that will actually fire things. They will shoot one by one cylinders. So you just load one in there, pull this back, and it'll just give it a little boost out. And again, you can put those on either side or leave them out to give yourself some storage space or carry passengers down there. There is no cover though to go over the top, and that is definitely a miss, because if they had just added a handful of additional pieces to have an optional cover over this, you could have done so much more. You would have had all that available deck space. So that is definitely a miss that feels unnecessary to me. Wouldn't have cost too much more, would not have added much more to the budget for the set, and would have added so much more play and display ability. Looking back here at the deck space around and behind the, I guess it's the main mast, the rearmost one, you see there is a little bit of a staircase off to the side, so that's nice to see to get up to the upper deck. And there's also a large opening to get into the captain's quarters. For us humans to get access in there, I'm actually going to move this sail completely out of the way. All of this here, this entire upper deck, just swings forward. It just angles forward, and unfortunately it kind of gets stopped right here. So what I'm going to do is just pull the wheel off so I can open this up even more to get you a better look inside And it's pretty simple what's in there. And you're not missing anything off to the sides. There's just a chair, a desk, and a few items on that desk. A little inkwell, a cup basically, and the map. And that's just it. There are no additional details around there that you're missing. Notice that the red chairs in this set, no matter which version you build, all have just a single stud, and that's because the captain has a peg leg. So this makes it much easier to just put the guy down because he only gets attached with a single stud from his good leg. It is a little bit cramped to get your human-sized hands in from the top. However, there is a nice cheat to get around that was built into the design. From the side, you can open up all of that, and that goes for both sides, which gives you excellent, easy access. And it's also a great way to do some customization if you want. Just leave the width of a single brick as free buffer space on the side for this to go back in. And you can add just little details relatively quickly and easily that way with, just a handful of pieces. And lastly, I guess one thing I technically didn't cover, even though it's super, super obvious, there's a plank there. It's just a single plate that acts as a plank so you can have somebody walk it. Here are the figures with the captain on the left, the first mate in the center, and other dude on the right. He can be whatever you want him to be. As I've mentioned in the reviews of the other versions or the other official builds for this, I'm not happy with that print especially. Those stripes are supposed to be white. LEGO is fully capable of printing bright white against dark colors, and sometimes they just don't do it. Also with the yellow skin tone, this one's a little bit off, but not too bad. I like the little metallic bits in his jacket as well. Just provides a little extra shine, as you can see when the light hits it just right. That one looks pretty good to me. All of these prints around the backs look pretty good to me. And this guy has an alternate face as well. Set also comes with a skeleton, just a single one. It's almost a requirement to include a skeleton in a pirate-related set, especially if you're not going to do too many pirate-related sets. So there's nothing special about this one, but it's good that he's here. These are the leftover parts, and it's nice to get an extra one of these, potentially with a little bit of customization and a few extra pieces. You could turn that into your missing forestay or jib stay. It's also nice to get an extra rare gold epaulette piece for minifigures. Other than that, everything's fairly straightforward except for these conspicuous outliers that should never be spares. I checked the part list in the instructions and it said there should be 4 of these in the set. Well, guess what? I used 4 of them in the build and I have these left over. So something was off there. Of course, everybody wants to see this comparison, and I am not going to completely reconfigure my studio again to fit the Black Seas Barracuda from the Pirates of Barracuda Bay set fully into frame here, much less with this one as well. But suffice to say and see, there's a tremendous difference in size between these. It's kind of not even close. This feels almost twice as big overall. And there's so much more that you can do with this, so much more space inside. Level of detail, I don't know. I might actually have to give the nod to this one just because of all the little details, all the little bits. It seems a little bit more ornate, and this stayed a little bit more true to the original Black Seas Barracuda with the simplicity of its color scheme. So I think this actually looks nicer for its size, for the amount of visual impact it can have on the eye. It does a good job with that space. But if you want this as a substitute for this, it'll kind of work as long as you haven't seen this in person. This is so much bigger. Yeah, it's yeah. And just to try to be fair with it, here I switched sides, and these are pretty much equidistant to the camera, so you're not seeing any optical illusions here, but I just wanted to show the opposite overlap between these. The 3-in-1 does look like a nice support ship or scout ship, if you consider this to be your flagship. The set goes for $100 US, and for the number of pieces and the volume of stuff, even with just the main build, I feel like it's pretty much worth it. Of course, if you can find it for less, all the better more, but I personally wouldn't reasonably ask for more than about a 10% discount off the asking price. This is not a direct substitute for the Barracuda, Pirates of the Barracuda Bay, Black Seas Barracuda build, but for its price, for its number of pieces, for its complexity, I feel like it makes a nice, like, junior substitute, you know, like if you want a nice Lego pirate ship that you have to fully build up, that's available today, you don't have to spend, you know, $800 for or something like that for something that's discontinued. This is very good for what it is. It also has those alternate models, which are pretty good. I personally thought that the Skull Island one wasn't all that great, and it definitely left a lot of pieces behind that easily could have been utilized for something useful and appropriate for the context. The Pirates Inn build is pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Of course, do keep in mind with these 3-in-1s that you can only build one model, one full, complete, official build option per box that you buy. So the additional value you get from it being a 3-in-1 versus just a regular 1-in-1 is limited. And with those alternate builds, also keep in mind that with those, step 1 is to open all the bags in the entire package, that entire big box, and then either search for every single piece every single time or spend some time up front sorting them out. It actually took me less time in total to build the model that uses all the pieces except for those 2 modified plates with clips on them than it did in total to build each of the alternate models. So the B model took longer than the C model, but each one also required at least a half an hour of parts sorting, and the process of building was slower than normal, because even though I did sort things out into many categories that made sense to me, it still took extra time to search for parts compared to just opening the pieces that you need for a particular segment. It was much more efficient. Some people like that additional work, that additional effort, that additional friction involved in the process of building, and that's fine. I mean, for folks who want maximum pain, when building a Lego set, you can take every single set that Lego ever makes. Doesn't matter how many bags they have, doesn't matter how well they do the instructions. You can just open all the bags on your own. Like, you have that option. The fact that Lego generally gives us at least a main model that has, you know, just a handful of parts used at a time and a nice, carefully done instruction and assembly process does not prevent people who want to do more from doing more. So just overall, this is definitely a triumph. I'm happy with it. If you haven't seen my looks at the alternate builds, you can check those out. Or if you just want to see how they went together, you can see the at least the speed builds for each of those. And I also have the real-time build done for this one, the main model. Thank you for watching. Hope that I showed you everything you wanted to see here. I definitely enjoyed this, and considering whether to keep this together longer term, because it really does look very nice on display. Just could have used a deck though. Would have helped it. This main model version. Otherwise, good stuff. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.